On May 24, 2021, Mali's Vice President Assimi Goïta captured President Bazoum, Prime Minister Moctar Ouane, and Defense Minister Souleymane Doucouré to record the country's second coup in less than a year. On September 30, 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traore toppled Interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba's government, making it Burkina Faso's second coup in only 8 months. Reports on July 26, 2023, revealed that Niger's President Mohammed Bazoum had been ousted in a military coup led by the country's Presidential Guard, headed by Presidential Guard Commander General Abdourahmane Chiani. Drama, tension, French resentment, exit of French and U.S. troops, welcoming of Russian troops, acquisition of military equipment from China and Russia, subject of Western propaganda, ECOWAS exits. These are terms that characterize Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, 3 West African countries that have seen a lot of drama in the last 2 years, with a total of 5 military coups amongst them. The military leaders of the 3 Sahel countries of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have finalized plans to form a confederation that will foster development in the area and improve security by curbing the threat from the jihadists in the Sahel, a mission that French and U.S. troops stationed in the countries promised to handle but failed woefully. Welcome back to the New Tourist channel. In today's video, we look at the coups in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and how their new leaders have led them out of ECOWAS and plan to free them from France and Western influence by forming a confederation of the 3 Sahel states. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. Watch the video till the end as we reveal recent and shocking unfoldings in these 3 countries. Junta-run Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had finalized plans to form a confederation after turning their backs on former colonial ruler France and ousting the U.S. military to seek closer ties with Russia. The 3 countries said in late January 2024 that they were quitting the Economic Community of West African States, which they said was under French influence. The ECOWAS urged them to rethink this decision, warning of additional hardships this withdrawal would bring. However, the 3 nations are convinced that they have to cut ties with anything and everything that concerns France, as the parasitic French nation has had a negative influence on all of its former colonies in Africa to this day through neo-colonialist policies and trade agreements. Their foreign ministers met Friday in Niger's capital Niamey to agree on a text establishing the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States. They reaffirmed their commitment to advancing resolutely in the process of implementing the Alliance of Sahel States and creating the Tri-State Confederation. The objective was to finalize the draft text relating to the institutionalization and operationalization of the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States, said Niger Foreign Minister Bakary Yehou Stangare as he read the final statement late Friday. He said the text would be adopted by the heads of state of the 3 countries at a summit, without specifying the date. We can consider very clearly today that the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States has been born, Malian Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop said after meeting General Abdourahmane Chiani, the head of the Niger military regime. The 3rd foreign minister at the meeting was Burkina Faso's Karamoko Traore. The Sahel region has been subject to deadly jihadist violence for years, which they accused France of not being able to curb. The 3 countries said in late January they were quitting ECOWAS, which they said was under French influence, to create their own regional grouping. The group has not shared details on how the proposed confederation would work or on how closely they plan to align political, economic, and security interests as they struggle to contain a decade-old battle with Islamist insurgents that has destabilized the sub-region. Last November, their finance ministers said they would weigh the option of setting up a monetary union, and top officials from all 3 countries have, to varying degrees, voiced support for abandoning West Africa's CFA franc common currency. The 3 military rulers have all severed long-standing military ties with former colonial ruler France, dealing a blow to France's influence in the Sahel and complicating international efforts to fight the militants linked to al-Qaeda and Islamic State. They also kicked out U.S. troops from their countries and welcomed the Russians. You can watch the video on the new tourist that shows how Russian troops take over the US military base in Niger. The idea of kicking out France and the USA and boycotting the colonialist Franc CFA are ideologies that resonate with other former French colonies. However, some of the people are just too scared to make their voices heard since they're being ruled by dictators who are loyal puppets of France. The new Senegalese president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, and his prime minister, Ousmane Sonko, have also taken a strong stance against the French neocolonialists and their parasitic policies. In a recent briefing, the Senegalese prime minister, Ousmane Sonko, questioned and criticized the presence of the French military in his country. He raised the possibility of closing French military bases in the West African country on Thursday in a wide-ranging speech that also touched on the euro-backed CFA franc currency, oil and gas deals, and LGBTQ rights. You can watch this video on our channel. France has more than 350 troops in Senegal. The new Senegalese president had also spoken against the franc CFA. This is what Sonko said: "More than 60 years after our independence, we must question the reasons why the French army, for example, still benefits from several military bases in our country and the impact of this presence on our national sovereignty and our strategic autonomy. I reiterate here the desire of Senegal to have its own control, which is incompatible with the lasting presence of foreign military bases in Senegal. Many countries have promised defense agreements, but this does not justify the fact that a third of the Dakar region is now occupied by foreign garrisons." The French and U.S. armies have been present in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, but these regions have continued experiencing attacks from jihadists in the Sahel. Senegal's neighbors Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have pushed out French troops and turned to Russia for help fighting jihadist insurgencies on their territory. They also turned away from the West African bloc ECOWAS, which condemned their coups and formed their own alliance of Sahel states. But Sonko had friendly words for them on Thursday. "We will not let go of our brothers in the Sahel, and we will do everything necessary to strengthen the ties." This could mean that the new Senegalese government could leave the ECOWAS too, quit the franc CFA, and join the newly formed confederation with neighboring Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. We have a video on our channel that covers the possibilities of Senegal joining the three Sahel states. Make sure you watch that too. Meanwhile, hundreds of demonstrators rallied in Burkina Faso's capital Friday in support of the country's military rulers after gunfire was reported near the presidency. Demonstrators gathered at a roundabout in central Ouagadougou, vowing to protect the rule of President Ibrahim Traoré. Earlier in the afternoon, there were shots fired near the presidential palace, said one demonstrator. "We do not know what is going on, but we are there to stop anything from happening." Burkina Faso news agency ABE reported that an individual had tried to attack a guard at the palace, but there were no injuries or damage. Security forces closed off access to the area around the palace. This is the fourth time an attempt has been made on Captain Ibrahim Traoré's life since after he seized power and took a strong stance against the French and Western neocolonialism and oppression. Apparently, there are external forces that working tirelessly to take out the charismatic leader, Ibrahim Traoré, who has recently been acclaimed as Thomas Sankara Reborn. West Africa is currently experiencing a period of significant change, with three key players, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, making headlines for various developments. Senegal is also making headlines with the moves of the newly elected president and prime minister. All three countries have experienced military coups recently, raising concerns about democratic backsliding and regional instability. Mali witnessed its second coup in 2021, while Burkina Faso and Niger followed suit in 2022 and 2023, respectively. These military governments remain in power, facing international pressure to hold elections and restore civilian rule. In the most recent turn of events, delegations from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger held a meeting to finalize the creation of a confederation after their announcement of exiting the economic community of West African states. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the New Tourist channel and join our community for the latest updates across Africa. What do you think of the alliance of Sahel states? Do you think Senegal should join? Let us know what you think in the comments below.